So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tom O'Sullivan and I'm the CEO of realestate.com.kh, which is Cambodia's leading real estate portal. To give you a bit of background on who we are first. So we're a real estate portal in Cambodia and we work with some of the leading real estate portals in the region, including Property Guru across all their markets, Singapore and Malaysia being the main ones. They're also in Thailand, Vietnam and Indonesia. We also work with our partners Juwai.com in China, which are the leading international property portals. So what they do is they market properties outside of China into the Chinese market. So just a brief background, we focus on digital, but we also have print products, tech products, VR, we do surveys, real estate shows, and a whole lot more. So we So we are number one on Google for a lot of search terms. We have 40,000 property listings on our website from all the leading real estate agents in Cambodia, property developers, both landed and condo developers. We have 29,000 people on our email database and over 100,000 people on our social media channels. We're attracting over 1 million visitors a year and they're visiting on average 3 page views per user. So just to put the presentation in a bit of context and to identify where our traffic comes from. So 55% of our traffic comes from within Cambodia, and that would be made up of local Cambodians. We do have our website in Khmer, and the balance would be made up of expats and a lot of people in the room today. We do have 45% of our traffic from overseas. The Chinese number of 2% is not identified through Google because it's not available in China, but that's assessed based on the inquiries on our website. So I didn't think I could do a presentation on the thoughts of and research of Sihanoukville without having a brief look at the Phnom Penh market. And I looked at it and I know I could have put up a lot of reports, research reports from Knight Frank, CBRE and V-Trust, but that sort of research we've all seen, and that's not our own data. So just a brief look at what we have on our website. So we do have 75 condo projects on our website at the moment that we're marketing for. It's obviously widely reported that there is growing fears of oversupply in the Phnom Penh property market, and multiple reports are reporting 30 to 40,000 condos coming online in the next few years. So, to be honest, I was a little bit at a loss of where the property market was myself up until the end of last year, because there's no sort of public data, right? So, honestly speaking, the best people for me, the people that understand the market the best are the real estate agents that are actually recording sales and analysing their own data. But what we decided to do was run a consumer sentiment survey. So what do the possible buyers in the market, what are their thoughts on the property market? So remarkably, we surveyed 5,000 people, which we were expecting to get about 1,000 people. So, I mean, initially that tells us people are interested in the Cambodian property market as a whole. And surprisingly, 73% of people did intend to buy in the next 12 months. And then I looked at the data and I thought, how can we publish that? No one believes that, right? But then I considered the market as a whole. You have condos, high-end condos, low-end condos, properties in Abore, shop houses, land, plot land. So that considers the whole market. Then it became more of a reality when I looked at the affordability of the people that we surveyed, and the majority said they are interested in buying property, but their average budget would be about 50,000, which is 42% of the people that filled out the survey. Now, more interesting and more relevant for this presentation is that, of course, Phnom Penh is still the most popular, but I thought it was quite remarkable that Sihanoukville was 20% and the second most popular location for investment. And definitely if I narrowed that down to the people that filled out the survey from overseas, that number was actually a little bit higher. So I was asked to do this presentation on the back of an article that we co-wrote and published in the Khmer Times, and we interviewed Ross from Knight Frank about the Sihanoukville market. And a quote from that story was, "One of the main drivers of real estate development and investment anywhere in the world is infrastructure. And a few recent infrastructural developments are spurring investor confidence in southern Cambodia." And I looked at that statement and I thought, it's so true, and some of you were at the last presentation in Sihanoukville, which I think looked at this sort of stuff in a lot more detail. But I thought I'd just touch on some of the infrastructural projects that are happening or scheduled to happen in Sihanoukville over the next few years. And I guess before I touch on each of those, I think I came here this morning with one of my team, and he said to me, what do you think about the bubble in Phnom Penh? What do you think about all this stuff? And we discussed it, and is there a bubble or isn't there a bubble? And I just said, it was taking so long to get here, and I was very happy to hear that they are working on sort of the traffic congestion issues in Phnom Penh. Because I think that's a real issue for investors. Anyway, so then I looked at the presentation I was doing this morning, and I thought Sihanoukville has a real opportunity to get this right, to look at some of the things they're trying to fix in Phnom Penh sort of after the fact. And I really believe the first few steps have been taken. I understand that there's a very detailed Sihanoukville sort of master plan, and the initial sort of steps of that seem to be being implemented, which is really, really good to see. So as far as the Sihanoukville airport is concerned, I have read content online and in print that the airport may be set to become actually the biggest airport in Cambodia itself. And then I looked, in the last few years, lots of airlines were just not even there was hardly any direct flights to Sihanoukville, and now we're seeing multiple routes currently flying direct to Sihanoukville, and a lot more looking to do the same. And we see international brands sort of reacting to this already in Six Senses, Accor Hotels, which we'll touch on a little bit later, and Hard Rock Cafe, and a lot more. Obviously, we need to touch on the highways and the rail. This not only aids travellers, but it also connects the special economic zones between Phnom Penh and Sihanoukville itself. It probably helps pull some of the companies towards Sihanoukville and making the Sihanoukville special economic zone the first choice. And then we look at the roads. I mean, there's even a highway scheduled to run between Sihanoukville, Kep and Kampot. So they look to be continuously developing the infrastructure in terms of road and rail. So deeper and more ports, so passenger ports, making the current port deeper and possibly more ports. Continue to pull industrials from Phnom Penh towards the coast. The current special economic zone employs more than 10,000 Cambodians, and the Sihanoukville special economic zone is situated on the One Belt One Road path. I actually thought it was pretty important for me to add a slide in about the One Belt One Road, but then honestly I also found it quite confusing, and I'm probably not the most schooled person on that initiative to go deep into it. But what it is connecting east and west and making sure that trade is easier. It's a collection of roads, rail, and sort of shipping lines to make trade easier and make business a lot faster and trade a lot faster. So we've already seen as part of the sort of master plan, protectionist policies in place, and we understand that it's hard for some business right now, but I think it's very important for the future of Sihanoukville, for everyone involved to sort of protect the natural wonders and why Sihanoukville beaches are so beautiful. So a brief look at current development in Sihanoukville already. Developments that we know of, or that I know of already: to Seaview, Blue Bay, Royal Bay View, the Scarlet, Blue Sky Tower and Sunshine Bay are all developments that are taking advantage of this already. In Ream, we understand that there's up to 15 agreements for land that have already been signed, and the image on the right-hand side for you guys is just circling where Ream actually is. Hospitality, which Christoph sort of touched on before and went into more detail in his last presentation in Sihanoukville, but I think it's fantastic for Sihanoukville that brand name hotels are actually entering that market, and some are even bypassing Phnom Penh itself. Novotel being one, which is actually where I worked when I was a student. Marriott Hotel, Alila, Six Senses, Ibis and Grand Mercure. So I believe Ibis, Novotel and Grand Mercure, they're all Accor branded hotels, which really gives tourists confidence in travelling to destinations like this, but also developers and investors confidence in investing in such a market. And then we see multiple casino licenses being granted already. Not sure this is working. So then I looked back at our traffic and tried to make sense of it all and the push to Sihanoukville. And what this says is that the top green line is our traffic over the last year on our website, realestate.com.kh. So about this time last year, if we had about 70,000, or a bit less than that, so say we had 40 to 50,000 people on our website every month, and that's grown to about 80,000 per month as it stands today. And the red line is actually searches on our website related to Sihanoukville. So this time a year ago, it was about 10% of our total traffic, and now the same time this year has actually increased to 25% of our total traffic. So it's been a 15% rise on our website for investors and people interested in the Sihanoukville property market. So it's a clear indication that people are looking at Sihanoukville as a possible investment destination. And one more sort of interesting thing that I realised when I was preparing for this presentation was that we get more land inquiries in Sihanoukville than any other city or province in Cambodia. So what that says to us and our team when we're analysing this sort of data, that developers are very much so looking at moving into the Sihanoukville market. So then I looked at who are the major investors. I mean, the easiest thing for us is to look at our site traffic, obviously. The Ministry of Tourism published fantastic data on who's flying into Cambodia. And then we think, it makes sense, right, with the brand name hotels going into Sihanoukville, the casino licenses being granted, that one of the major investor pools is China. Obviously that's reflective in the flights coming out of China direct to Sihanoukville. And then I looked at reading an article the other day from Juai.com, which is our partner in China, and they published an article to say that 57% of Chinese consumers plan to purchase properties in the countries in which they are travelling. And Chinese tourism is continuing to grow across Cambodia and definitely into Sihanoukville. And thank you very much. That's it for my presentation.